What's good, y'all? It's Timmy Too Dope. I appreciate y'all clicking on this video and kicking it with me today. In this video, we're talking about AI, not Allen Iverson, but specifically, we're talking about Timbaland and his latest AI signing, Tata. Yes, you heard me correctly. Hip-hop mega producer Timbaland has signed an AI artist. And this isn't the first time we've seen something like this. I don't know if y'all remember FN Mecca from a couple years ago. He was an AI generated rapper who very quickly got dropped. I don't know how that works with the labels and everything, but he got dropped from Capitol Records, who it signed to within like 10 days because of the backlash that the rapper was getting, because it just portrayed a very stereotypical, very caricature portrayal of what the creators of the AI thought black people were, or what black rappers were. Just absolutely disgusting. So they quickly realized, the mistake that they made. I'm sure if they didn't get the backlash, they would have kept going. But regardless, they realized they made a mistake and deaded that almost immediately. And here comes Timbaland 3 years later, acting like he hasn't learned a damn thing. So we're going to check out this article it was initially by Rolling Stone, but this is through MSN, because Rolling Stone makes you pay to see the full story. I wasn't about to do that. So the headline reads, Timbaland's new artist is young, photogenic, and not human. Already gross. There's a picture of her, the generation. Looks almost like an Asian woman. There's probably some comments people are making about that as well, but I'm going to digress. It says, legendary producer Timbaland has taken his fervent embrace of AI music production to a new level, launching a new AI entertainment company, Stage Zero, and an AI-generated artist, Tata. I love how they put artist in quotes, because no, she ain't. Who will be dropping a debut single soon. Timbaland, who co-founded the company with its current creative partner Zaid Portillo and film producer Rocky Mudaliar, tells Rolling Stone he's had the idea for the venture since he began making music with the generative AI platform Suno last year. I saw the path, he says, but I had to wait till everything caught up. There's actually footage out there, I'll try to remember to splice it in here, of, I assume, homeboy, Zaid Portillo or whatever, showing Timbaland that Suno, showing him that for the first time, and Tim just wilding out over it. And we should have known at that moment that something like this was not too far off. Goes on to say, Tata is intended to be the first of many personas launched by the company, and the co-founders have dreams of the characters becoming virtual influencers and even starring in movies and TV shows. Ugh. Ultimately, what Tim's here to do is to pioneer a new genre of music, A-pop, artificial pop, says Mudaliar, who originally met with Timbaland to discuss a documentary on his career. Tata will maintain a social media presence with music videos generated by various AI video tools, because, of course, Tata and other potential artists from the company will have their music created via a collaborative process between human creators and the AI platform Suno. Timbaland is a creative advisor to the company, but Stage Zero is entirely independent of Suno, because that makes a difference. Timbaland and Portillo have developed a workflow where they upload Timbaland demos created by conventional means, so that means Tim actually making these demos that they're feeding, into the platform, have Suno extrapolate upon them, and then insert human written lyrics. I'm going to talk a little bit later about another method I think Timbaland used in order to feed this new Tata, whatever they're calling it. And if I'm correct, it's a completely just anecdotal thought, but if I'm correct, this takes the disgustingness up 20 levels. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Goes on to say, Tata's voice first appeared in a Suno generation that caught Timbaland's ear. It came to a point where I'm like, yo, this voice, it's amazing. He's able to capture and reuse that specific voice via the platform's Personas feature introduced last October. So I think that was the video that I was talking about earlier. We have these stacks of music that need to be finished, Portillo says. And then it just so happens that the Tata ones were the ones getting finished faster. There was just something about those songs that were just like, man, this just flows. Stage Zero arrives as the music industry and artists continue to wage legal and cultural wars against AI music tools. Major labels have filed massive lawsuits against Suno and competitor Udio over their use of copyrighted material and in training data. Although recent reports suggest settlement talks are underway, which that's pretty telling right there, because usually people don't, if they're not guilty of something, usually they don't settle. Usually that's just like hush money to like, I'm gonna pay you under the table to never speak about this again. But it is somewhat an admission of guilt, you know, in a lot of cases. Artists like Billie Eilish and Stevie Wonder have signed open letters denouncing AI as a threat to human creativity, which I love. And I really think a lot more artists of that stature need to be more outspoken against AI in this aspect anyway. Because I do think AI has, we can find harmony between human and AI in the right ways. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Timbaland and Portillo. Every time I say Portillo, it makes me think of Portobello. And I haven't eaten today. So that should just make me mad hungry. Anyway, Timbaland and Portillo have suggested the backlash will die down. And Mudalayar agrees it's going to be a bit of a battle. But it's not going anywhere. We were thinking about the example of the influencer itself. And how ridiculous that might have sounded 10 years ago. Where we were like, nah, there's no way YouTubers can be bigger than actors. And now they're the biggest stars in the world. To a certain point, at the end, I do agree, but I also do think it's gross that he's just doubling down and being like, yeah, there's going to be a fight, but we're standing on business. This is how we feel, and this shit's not going anywhere because we're going to put up a fight. So yeah, that's the article. A lot of gross quotables, and I think it's very telling of where these people's minds are at. You know what I mean? I think it's just spitting in the face of natural, organic artistry. You know what I mean? So a few talking points I want to go over before I finish up this video. I saw somebody, I don't remember the exact tweet, but when I go through edit, I'll make sure to post it up. Somebody tweeted out like, how is this any different than SpongeBob or Alvin and the Chipmunks singing or Charlie Brown singing or anything like that? And Rob Markman, shout out to Rob Markman, he like quote tweeted it and said something to the effect of humans. That's what's different. There's actual humans writing these lyrics, making the melodies and all that stuff. There still is a human element to it, which I do think that that's going to be a part of their defense, is saying that, no, they extrapolated all this data and stuff from human curated demos that Timbaland made. But I don't think that's enough of a that's not a good enough collaboration process. I still think that AI is doing a lot of heavy lifting when you're making a whole character and a whole persona, giving her a look, you know what I mean? You generated her visuals and everything. I really think you're maybe doing 5% of the work, and then the AI generation is doing 95%. Whereas in the examples I just gave, you know, Alvin and the Chipmunks and stuff, that's way closer to a 50-50 split between human and AI. As I said before, I really do think there's a world where AI and humans can exist. If you look on the flip side of what Timbaland's doing, if you look at somebody like what will.i.am is doing with his FYI AI, I got an article pulled up here. will.i.am launches FYI, the world's first AI-powered messenger for creative collaboration. will.i.am has a vision for the future of creative collaboration as a rapper, producer, tech mogul, and philanthropist. Working with other creators has always been his source of inspiration. Now he's delivering a tool to help fuel the next wave of creative innovation. This past weekend in Miami, on the heels of premiering The Formula with Lil Wayne as F1's new theme song during Miami race weekend, Will and his team took over Soho House's Miami pool party to debut FYI, the world's first AI web 3.0 messenger geared towards creative collaboration. The first look event featured panel conversations, product demos, and an all-around vibe of celebrating creativity, collaboration, and peering into the future, hallmarks of will.i.am himself. I kept emphasizing the word collaboration because I really think that's where the emphasis needs to be put. As I keep harping on, there is a world that exists where humans and AI can coexist. And I think it shouldn't be a way that replaces the humans or replaces creativity. I just think that the AI should make human creativity easier. It should make the creative process smoother by helping with all the arbitrary, mundane shit that just takes away from the creativity. That's what it should be for. One last thing before I get out of here. And again, this is just speculation. This is just an anecdotal thought based on a bunch of evidence, pretty much twice a week, live on YouTube worth of evidence. I'm talking about, you might have seen Timbaland go live on YouTube. As I said, he probably does it twice a week. And he has artists, up and coming artists, send him their music and he reviews it, listens to it, reacts to it, whatever, live on stream. And you might think that's a great idea. And I thought it was a great idea too. I know a lot of, up and coming local artists who are super talented. And I'm trying to holler at all of them. Yo, was it $20 or something like that? Gets your song played in front of Timbaland. You can get feedback, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't get that opportunity all the time to get your music in front of somebody like Timbaland. But after seeing this, I'm really starting to think all that was for was to get data, to feed the algorithm, to feed this AI, to make this new AI character, this new AI persona, this new AI artist, Tata. And if that's the case, that's one of the most disgusting things that I've seen. That's the biggest betrayal of trust that I've seen in a long time. No doubt the biggest since AI starting to roll out and everything. I sincerely hope I'm wrong on that front, but there's a lot of evidence pointing towards that being correct.
Editing Timmy Too Dope here. As I was wrapping up editing this video, I saw that Timbaland did an Instagram live and had Young Guru and a few other notable people in the music industry come by for a 4-hour conversation. They went back and forth debating their points, pro or anti-AI. And I'll try to remember to leave a link in the description so y'all can go check that conversation out. But I highly suggest checking that video out.
That's all I got for today's video. I appreciate y'all kicking it with me today. If you want to stick around on the channel, there's another video popping up right here. And as always, if it's not too dope, then it's probably mids.